when the garden was opened to the public," said Clear Breeze. "We shared and ate 2 of the fruits. There should be still 28 of them on the tree. We wouldn't think of using any more than you have told us to," the great immortal said. "Though Tripitaka Tang is an old friend, his disciples, I fear, may be somewhat rowdy. It's best not to let them know about the fruits." After he had finished giving these instructions to the 2 lads, the great immortal ascended to the region of heaven with all his disciples. We tell you now about the Tang monk and his 3 companions, who were making a tour of the mountain. Looking up, they suddenly discovered several tall buildings by a cluster of pines and bamboos. "Wukong?" said the Tang monk. "What sort of place do you think that is over there?" After taking a look at it, Pilgrim said, "It's either a Taoist abbey or a Buddhist monastery. Let's move along, and we'll find out more about it when we get there." They soon arrived at the gate, and they saw a pine knoll cool and serene, a bamboo path dark and secluded, white cranes coming and leaving with clouds afloat, and apes climbing up and down to hand out fruits. Before the gate, the ponds wide and trees cast long shadows. The rocks crack, breaking the moss's growth. Palatial halls dark and tall as the purple heaven, and towers aloft from which bright red mists descend. Truly a blessed region, a spiritual place. Like the cloudy cave of Penglai. Quiet, untouched by the affairs of man. Tranquil, fit to nurse the mind of Tao. Bluebirds may bring at times a queen mother's note. A phoenix oft arrives with a Lao Tzu scroll. There's no end to the sight of this noble Taoist scene. It's the spacious home of immortals, indeed. As the Tang monk dismounted, he saw on the left a huge stone tablet, on which the following inscription was written in large letters. "The blessed land of the Long Life Mountain. The cave heaven of the 5 villages Abbey. Disciples," said the elder. "It's indeed a Taoist abbey, Master," said Sha monk. "With such splendid scenery, there must be a good man living in this temple. Let us go in and take a look. When we return to the east after completing our merits, this may be the place for another visit because of its marvelous scenery." "Well spoken," said Pilgrim, and they all went inside. On both sides of the second gate they saw this New Year couplet. "Long living and ever young, this immortal house. Of the same age as heaven, this Taoist home." Pilgrim said with a snicker. "This Taoist is mouthing big words just to intimidate people. When I, old monkey, caused disturbance in the heavenly palace 500 years ago, I did not encounter such words even on the door of Lao Tzu." "Never mind him," said 8 Rules. "Let's go inside. Let's go inside. You never know, maybe this Taoist does possess some virtuous accomplishment." When they passed through the second gate, they were met by 2 young lads who were hurrying out. "Look how they appear. Healthy in bone and spirit with visage fair. On their heads were short bundled tufts of hair. Their Taoist gowns, free falling, seemed wrapped in mists. Their feathered robes, more quaint for the wind-blown sleeves. Dragon heads had their sashes knotted tight. Silk cords laced lightly their sandals of straw. Such uncommon looks were of no worldly born. They were Clear Breeze and Bright Moon, 2 lads divine. The 2 young lads came out to meet them, bowing and saying, "Old master, forgive us for not coming to meet you. Please take a seat." Delighted, the elder followed the 2 lads to the main hall to look around. There were altogether 5 huge chambers facing south, separated by floor-length windows that had carved panes and were translucent at the top and solid at the bottom. Pushing open one of these, the 2 immortal lads invited the Tang monk into the central chamber, with a panel hanging on the middle wall on which 2 large characters, "Heaven, Earth," were embroidered in 5 colors. Beneath the panel was a cinnabar red lacquered incense table, on which there was an urn of yellow gold. Conveniently placed beside the urn were several sticks of incense. The Tang monk went forward and with his left hand, took up some incense to put into the urn. He then prostrated himself 3 times before the table, after which he turned around and said, "Immortal lads, your 5 villages abbey is in truth a godly region of the West. But why is it that you do not worship the 3 pure ones, the thirsts of 4 quarters, or the many lords of high heaven? Why is it that you merely put up these 2 words of heaven and earth to receive the oblation of fire and incense?" Smiling, one of the lads said, "To tell you the truth, master, putting these 2 words up is an act of flattery on the part of our teacher, for of these 2 words, the one on top may deserve our reverence, but the one below is hardly worthy of our fire and incense." "What do you mean by an act of flattery?" asked Tripitaka. The lad replied, "The 3 pure ones are friends of our teacher. The 4 thirsts, his old acquaintances. The 9 luminaries, his junior colleagues. And the god of the new year, his unwanted guest." When Pilgrim heard this remark, he laughed so hard that he could barely stand up. "Elder brother," said 8 Rules, "why are you laughing? Talk about the shenanigans of Old Monkey," said Pilgrim. "Just listen to the flimflam of this Taoist kid." "Where is your honorable teacher?" asked Tripitaka. "Our teacher," said the lad, "had been invited by the Honorable Divine of the Origin to attend a lecture on the Taoist fruit of the chaotic origin at the Miluo Palace in the heaven of highest clarity. He's not home." No longer able to restrain himself after hearing these words, Pilgrim shouted, "You stinking young Taoists! You can't even recognize people. Whom are you trying to hoodwink? What kind of taradiddle is this? Who is that heavenly immortal in the Miluo Palace who wanted to invite this wild bull shank of yours? And what sort of lecture is he going to give?" When Tripitaka saw how aroused Pilgrim was, he feared that the lads might give some reply that would lead to real trouble. So he said, "Wukong, stop being quarrelsome. If we leave this place the moment after we arrive, it is hardly a friendly gesture. The proverb says the egrets do not devour the egret's flesh. If their teacher is not here, why bother them? You go to graze the horse outside the temple gate. Let Sha Monk look after the luggage and 8 Rules fetch some grain from our bags. Let's borrow their pans and stove to prepare a meal for ourselves. When we are done, we can pay them a few pennies for firewood, and that will be the end of the matter. Attend to your business, each of you, and let me rest here for a while. After the meal, we'll leave." The 3 of them duly went about their business. Clear Breeze and Bright Moon, filled with admiration, said softly to each other, "What a monk! Truly the incarnation of a lovable sage of the West, whose true origin is not at all obscured. Well, our master did tell us to take care of the Tang monk, and to serve him some ginseng fruits as a token of past friendship. He also cautioned us about the rowdiness of his disciples, and he couldn't have been more correct. It's a good thing that those 3, so fierce in their looks and so churlish in their manners, were sent away. For had they remained, they would certainly have to see the ginseng fruits." Then Clear Breeze said, "Brother, we are still not quite certain whether that monk is really an old acquaintance of master. We had better ask him and not make a mistake." The 2 lads therefore went forward again and said, "May we ask the old master whether he is Tripitaka Tang from the great Tang Empire, who is on his way to fetch scriptures from the western heaven?" Returning their bows, the elder said, "I am, indeed. How is it that the immortal youths know my vulgar name?" "Before our master's departure," said one of them. "He gave us instructions that we should go some distance to meet you. We did not expect your arrival to be so soon, and thus we failed in the proper etiquette of greeting you. Please take a seat, master, and allow us to serve you tea." "I hardly deserve that," said Tripitaka, but Bright Moon went quickly back to his room and brought back a cup of fragrant tea to present to the elder. After Tripitaka had drunk the tea, Clear Breeze said, "Brother, we must not disobey our master's command. Let's go and bring back the fruit." The 2 lads took leave of Tripitaka and went back to their room, where one of them took out a gold mallet, and the other a wooden tray for carrying elixir. They also spread out several silk handkerchiefs on the tray before going to the ginseng garden. Clear Breeze then climbed on the tree to strike at the fruits with the mallet, while Bright Moon waited below, holding the tray. In a moment, 2 of the fruits dropped down and fell onto the tray. The young lads returned to the main hall and presented the fruits to the Tang monk, saying, "Master Tang, our 5 villages abbey is situated in the midst of wild and desolate country. There's not much that we can offer you except these 2 fruits, our local products. Please use them to relieve your thirst." When the elder saw the fruits, he trembled all over and backed away 3 feet, saying, "Goodness! Goodness! The harvest seems to be plentiful this year. But why is this abbey so destitute that they have to practice cannibalism here? These are newborn infants not yet 3 days old. How could you serve them to me to relieve my thirst?" "This monk," said Clear Breeze quietly to himself, "has been so corrupted by the fields of mouths and tongues, by the sea of strife and envy, that all he possesses are but 2 fleshly eyes and a worldly mind. That's why he can't recognize the strange treasures of our divine abode." Bright Moon then drew near and said, "Master, this thing is called ginseng fruit. It's perfectly all right for you to eat one." "Nonsense! Nonsense!" said Tripitaka.